Hello and welcome to Liminal Tarot for the week of January 8th through 14th, 2023. Um, this is it's certainly this is a Mercury retrograde period that's been quite tumultuous. It's just been since the 1st of January. There's just been some unbelievable communication mishaps and things that have just gone on all week, as well as a lot of new information that seems to be coming in for a lot of people right now, with the strong Piscean energy that's still around. With the full moon in Cancer that we've just had recently, there's this. I feel like there's a bit of this tendency for people. It's been noted that people who actually have a Cancer sun sign or have that very strong element, this was probably a very nice full moon for them. For a lot of other people, I feel like there's a lot of the water with the Capricorn Earth tends to make things muddy. So, because sometimes that can happen. I remember a reader I had a long time ago telling me, water and earth can make mud, and so sometimes we can get stuck in it. So depending on where you're coming from, some people might have had a really brilliant week last week. Others of us might be feeling a little stuck for certain things. So, but this week, things are looking quite good. So we just have the traditional Rider-Waite deck today. Just keeping it simple. We've got the Osho Zen Tarot. I've got my own deck, the Antarian Oracle. I have the Norse Runes. We have the Wisdom of the Tao, Moonology, Essential Oil Oracle, and also the Dark Goddess Oracle. So, okay, so let's begin, as always, with Tarot. So our first card's here, the Star, which looks very, very nice. I mean, the Star, of course, is about new opportunities, about hope, maybe after something has ended or something has, finally... Sometimes the Star card follows the Tower card in the tarot deck, so oftentimes this is a sign that we've moved from something that could be a breakdown or a breakthrough, and now there's some optimism about a new direction and new potential. We have this with the Seven of Wands. So this is really the message of this card has always been, it's kind of a stick to your guns kind of card. There's a sense that you have the energy of this card is very much about, you may feel that people or situations in the environment may be working against you in some fashion. And the idea there is not to let that influence you, that you need to kind of stick to your path, stick to what's been, to where you're going with something, because you are on the right track with things. And of course, we also have the Nine of Swords here. So, what, in a way, it seems like the Nine of Swords influences just about everything in our culture. And the thing about the Nine of Swords is that it represents somebody who's undergoing kind of this extreme mental kind of cruelty. The person sitting up in bed who is, clearly had some kind of a bad dream or kind of bad, or is just, or who knows, we don't know if this person has just had like a kind of a nightmare, or if this person is just sad about something, and then just, the nighttime is the time when, our feelings really come to the surface. Nonetheless, really tends to be more about what the implication of this card is, that, we're more worried about what might happen rather than actually what is happening. So try to stay in the present with this card. There's some variables here that may want to throw us off course because we get too deep in thought. We allow other people's attitudes and behaviors towards things to influence us too much. So that could potentially put a damper on things. But I feel like with the Star card, there's an encouragement there that things are actually okay, that in spite of whatever obstacles we might be facing at the moment, or whatever kind of, things that are, daunting us in some way, that things are actually going to be just fine. That most of what we're worried about is either other people meddling where they're not needed, or it's us meddling with ourselves as we, take ourselves down that mental trek where we overthink things and overanalyze. This is certainly supported by the Osho Zen card, which is courage. This is the strength card of this particular deck. And as it implies, it's kind of like, when you're on this rocky surface, the flower that manages to push its way through the rocks here. And so it's the idea that, again, it's back to this, you can do this, you have this potential here, you can do this, in spite of the fact that there may be things right now that seem doubtful or dubious. And as I have mentioned, it is the retrograde, so I do think it is worth noting that this may not be the best time to initiate new things. However, that doesn't mean that, it's more of a, Mercury retrograde tends to be more of a time for completing things. So you're better off spending your energy right now trying to, trying to finish old business and get yourself organized so that you can move into what the new things that are coming post retrograde. Because again, like last year, astrologically, this first few months of the year is a little erratic. It seems like after March or April, aside from I think there's really only two major events this year. I think one in May and one in October that could, shake things up a little bit. But other than that, it's a fairly quiet year before before everything changes in 2024. So, this is definitely a good time to start putting your projects and your plans together, start working on moving forward. The Place Next Door from the Antarian Oracle, this is a card having to do with expansion. It has to do with learning, traveling abroad, picking up something new. There's a definite newness to this. And of course, we are in a new year. This is a time when people make their resolutions and do things. But A Place Next Door to me is about, it's time to start investigating. It's time to start moving down new pathways and learning new things. Don't just do things the same old way. There's going to be a lot of Aquarius energy this year. Saturn's in Aquarius. Pluto is going to be taking a brief dive into Aquarius for a little while before it retrogrades back into Capricorn again. But it's, there's definitely this sense of, preparing ourselves for, having a more open mind or learning new things or moving in new directions. We similarly have the longevity card here in the Tao Oracle, and the longevity card is about, it's very auspicious. It's about, reassurances of long life, prosperity, abundance, and also, it counsels us to, to focus on, mundane things, good food habits, good exercise habits, things like that, to put ourselves back in physical balance as well as perhaps mental and emotional balance. Now we have the new moon in Capricorn. Again, here, there's this energy, your hard work is paying off. Yeah, there's this idea of, having the 12-month plan, having some kind of a practical plan and sticking to it. It's the new moon card, so therefore, again, there's this idea of being at the beginning of something, just as the star seems to imply beginnings. And, so you are, you're at this state, this juncture where things are, where you've got a plan, you've got a structure, you may have made some progress already with certain things, but there's definitely the sense of trying to keep, stay grounded and have, and always try to have the practical side inform whatever else is going on with you. So all of these, to me, these three are about the kind of, they're very, very appropriate to the new year. Get your diet and exercise in order, get certain regimes in order, get your plans together for whatever you're doing. This card is also good for people who might be looking for a new job or looking to move into something new. New moon in Capricorn definitely supports anything having to do with work and anything having to do with new work. So, so if that is something that has been on your mind, that is definitely a good omen for that. And yeah, there's just this idea of branching out, but also putting the work in on ourselves to do that. The rune that we have for this week actually matches up with this very nicely, because this is Manaz, and Manaz is the rune of the self. It's the starting point. Like, everything starts with you and what you're going to do and the efforts that you make and the plans that you make. So right now, the focus does need to be on you and how you need to bring yourself in line with wherever it is you're looking to go. Before I get to this one, I'm going to do Ma'at, which is the card of judgment in this deck. And again, this actually tends to come up when we are judging ourselves too harshly. A lot of times we are, again, this might be part of the old New Year thing where we're beating ourselves up over what we didn't do, or how we are not enough, or how we didn't measure up in a certain way. And, this card is saying we really need to stop doing that. we can see the consequences of certain actions, but we really tend to be hard on ourselves. So this card is kind of indicating, that there's a need to not do that. You don't need to be so hard on yourself. Again, it's back to, it kind of fits in with this energy over here, where we have this, this grief or this sorrow or this over-analysis of ourselves and our situation, and a tendency to doubt ourselves. But things are actually not as bad as they appear to be. In fact, I think the focus often here is we need to focus on I don't want to get into the whole, gratitude, attitude thing and all that stuff. Some of that's just really hokey to me, but nonetheless, we do need to focus on, we need to take stock on what it is that we have and what's working for us, as we're moving forward. So we don't need to focus on, all those things maybe we think we should have done or that we're not doing right or where we don't measure up to somebody else. Lastly, I'm going to look at our Antarian Oracle. Sorry, I'm not Antarian. I'm looking at that over on the side. Essential Oil Oracle. And our card, this is the oil. I guess there is a blend known as the monthly oil, which for me sounds very feminine in its nature. And the key word here is receptivity. So it says our trigger statement is I am guarded, and our true statement is my heart is open. And our state is this is a time for you to receive new information. Open your heart to receive it. Okay. So again, I feel like that fits in with this over here. It fits in with all this idea, as we're putting ourselves back in balance, we are also open to new information and allowing old judgments to fall away. So this is a good, so this to me, I feel like this is there's some kind of progress in this reading, I think, from the last, 2 or 3 weeks. I feel like rather than us kind of getting too lost in despair and so forth, I mean, there's still some of that around. I think as human beings, there's always going to be some level of self-doubt or second guessing or overthinking, because that's just, that's just literally the collective culture we're immersed in. But it is advising you that, to take stock, to get yourself in balance. And I think part of getting yourself in balance too, and grounding, is being able to see where you may be, where you may be exaggerating things or overthinking things or giving yourself anxiety where it may not be necessary. Okay. So all of this, so all of this looks good. Don't be hard on yourself this week. Good time for self-work and for self-expansion, on all, mental stimulation, psychological stimulation, being ready to take in new information. And so take care of yourself. So that's it for this week. And I hope you enjoy, and we'll talk to you next week.